Hi there everybody, welcome. Today I've got a couple of projects. The first one here is going to be a rag Christmas tree. That is an 11-inch strip there. The next one is a 9-inch, and the third stack is 7 inches. I put about 2 inches in between each. That way I could have it taper to the top. And these are in a 1-inch torn strip from some thin cotton muslin. Now, depending on the size of tree that you're looking for, these may vary quite a bit in length for you. And so I'm just kind of winging it. And as long as I kept a couple of inches between each stack, I know that it's going to obviously taper to the top. And so we just tie these on here. Now, I did end up leaving this kind of, how do you say, like tied how it is. Usually you'll see the rag Christmas trees where they go all the way around to make like a full type tree. But I didn't like how that was looking with this. I've tried rag trees in the past and I didn't really like how they looked. So I opted to just go with this flat. That way I can get the silhouette of the tree and still have a neat kind of, material look to it. And so I'm just going to go ahead and continue to go all the way up to the top. And then what I'm going to do is, obviously I'm going to glue each one down a little further along here. But I brought my jar out because I wanted to show you guys. It's kind of silly, but I do end up saving a lot of the strings that I pull from my muslin, and I end up using them quite a bit. Actually, in spring when I make birds' nests, I like to hang on to all those threads. You'd be surprised what you can kind of weave those into, and I like them during spring for birds' nests, but maybe I can find a use for them during this season coming up. We'll have to see. And so now I'm just going to tack down these knots. I made sure that the tie of the knot all remained on one side, and I didn't want them to twist and turn on me, so I am going to take my hot glue gun and go along each one and tack it down. I do want to do a little bit of a cleanup on this. I thought the threads hanging down definitely add to the look, but a little too much, and it starts to look a little funky. So now I'm looking for something for the top of the tree, and I think this is perfect. It's actually the exact width of the dowel that I'm using, and so that worked out. I've got my antiquing wax and water mixture. It ended up being a little thin, so I did switch over to the straight antiquing wax for a darker look on both the top finial and the stem of the tree. Now this is a little risky, guys. I could have stained this before I got started, but what the heck, I'm impatient and I wanted to just get this project started. And I knew I could stain this without getting it on the fabric, and there's always a way to fix things, so I don't worry about that kind of stuff. Okay, so I am now hot gluing that to the top very carefully. And so what I do next is take one more strip of fabric and just tie it where the finial meets that dowel. I didn't want that line to show. and so it has like more of a smoother finished look to it. Okay, so I obviously tried to tie a shorter piece up at the top and it didn't quite work out. So I'm going to give myself a break and cut a long piece and then trim it later. That way it just makes things go a lot smoother without having to fight with the shortness of that material. Okay, so we're just going to hot glue that last one down and then trim to size. I'm taking some E6000 around the edge and hot glue in the center, and I'm just gonna glue that down into this tart tin or bundt pan and hold that there for a couple of seconds. And then what I do is I take the coconut fiber. I've been using it quite a bit lately. I really like the coconut fiber. It works really well. It's easy to work with. It's clean and it stays wherever you put it. So I'm enjoying it quite a bit, and I am going to add it to the base of this tree. I want to go ahead and add something to the tree. So I'm taking this ephemera and I'm going to glue it down to some chipboard. I really like the way these ephemera look. I like the advertisements and the scroll work. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. And I just love the antique white look of them. And so I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to glue that down, and then I'm going to take some ink and do a little bit of distressing around the edges. I went ahead and punched a hole in the corner of the tag. I want it to hang at an angle instead of straight up and down or across. And so I've got some of this vintage white twine. I thought it went really well. I want to keep it all in the same color range. So I'm just going to tie that through there and then find the right spot on the tree. Now I did start tying it close to the top of the tree. I didn't really like that. I wanted it to be a little bit more in the center. So you'll see here where I kind of start to tie it there at the top, and I didn't quite look like how that looks. So I brought it down just a couple of inches. Now I'm just tying it in the back in a little bit of a bow. Okay, on to project number 2. This is going to be an angel ornament. I have that old-fashioned clothespin, a small tart tin, and some muslin. And then I've also got some of this ribbon. I only end up using a little bit of that ribbon, but I didn't know that you can actually flatten these tart tins. I'd seen it done recently, and so I just took a small mallet. It flattened really easily, and it's great because it'll kind of open up my options for what I can do with these tart tins. So now I'm just deciding which clothespin I like better, because that top part is going to act as like the head of the angel. And I like the dark of these one clothespins there. So I'm going to go ahead and use that one. I didn't want to have to stain any of this. I'm just going to go with it. And so now I'm going to cut this to size. I want to make like a dress, so I have to make this a lot smaller. And it's just pretty much about a square piece. And so I'm just going to fold it around. Let's see what I've got here. I think that's about 4 inches by 2.5 inches. You guys, if you decide to make one of these, you can kind of just cut yours to size however you like. So now I have some of this twine. I wanted to keep everything in the same color range. So I'm just going to hot glue that right down in the center and then fold it over and tie in the middle. I'm adding a little bit of interest to the dress by wrapping this ribbon. It's like a crocheted ribbon just around the center. You know, I actually was going to add a strip to the back across the tart tin. I had to readjust the angel's dress just a little bit, and I ended up leaving that part out, but that's fine. I like the way it looks. I can make another one and add that ribbon back in. So now I'm just going to hot glue her right on to there. I think it looks fantastic, super quick, super easy. Now that round piece is, I don't really know what they're called. I guess they're wheels that you can put on to a dowel for our little car or cart or something. But I thought it would be great as the halo for the angel, so I hot glued that to the back of her head. And that will give me a nice sturdy place to put the hanger. So now I'm just cutting that ribbon to size. I do want to add some of this twine for hanging, and then that little square of ribbon is going to clean that back up. And so I just add that right on to the back. I thought it looked a little plain and it needed something else. So I found a metal button. It's great because the eye of the button has the same shape as the wings, and so really cute. Okay, I didn't plan on adding hair to the angel. Sometimes it can look a little funky, But I went ahead and used some more of that coconut fiber. I think it looks fantastic because it matches the same tone as the wood clothespin. Just a little bit of hot glue. And again, this coconut fiber is so easy to work with. And you do often see like these angels with hair. And so what the heck, I went ahead and threw some on there. I think it looks cute. And so that's it, guys, for these two projects. I really hope you enjoyed them. They're quick, easy, and fun to make. Enjoy your holiday season coming up, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Bye.